Hello students, my name is Gaurav Bansal and we are going to start this revision class for the microeconomics. This is going to be very useful for the PT 2023, those who are appearing this year. And as I said, this is going to be a revision class. If there are students who feel that they do not know some of these concepts, then on each of these individual concepts there will also be concept classes all on the YouTube. Okay, so let us start with this revision class. So first of all, very basic idea, okay, that microeconomics is an important topic, and from time to time 2 to 3 questions we have seen from microeconomics have been asked even in a single year, and then regularly 1 question, 2 questions have been asked. Okay, so in this discussion my focus will be to give you overall summary of the syllabus and to do practice through questions. So let us look at the key areas. So first of all, microeconomics basically looks into how the markets work, okay, at individual level, how individual company work basically, and how together they work at market level, how individual customer think, individual person think, and how do they take their decision. Microeconomics looks into the individual decision making. In macroeconomics, we look at the collective decision making and the government. So now let us start. Our first topic is demand and supply. As we can read here, understanding the concept of demand and supply is crucial, okay, because this is the very foundation for the economics. Now let us start the topics one by one. Okay, the first topic that we have is income demand curve. Okay, second is price demand curve, and then law of DMU. Let us cover these 3 topics. First of all, I will talk about the law of demand. When we say law of demand, we are talking about the price demand relationship. By default, law of demand is about relationship between price and demand, and the relationship between them is inversely proportional. Means when price rise, demand falls. All of us know about it, and since this is a revision class, I will quickly move forward. Why are we ready to buy more when prices are less? On y-axis we have price, on x-axis we have quantity, which reflects demand, quantity demanded. Now, quantity, okay, at this stage we have a higher price, and at this stage we have a lower price, and as we see, at the higher price demand seems to be low, and at a lower price demand seems to be high. Why do we demand more, okay, when price falls? Because there is a law of DMU, diminishing marginal utility. As we consume more, we get less and less benefit out of it, less and less utility out of it. So what we try to do eventually, we do not want to pay the same that we want to pay for few. So when we buy few quantity, less quantity, we are ready to pay little more for that. But when we buy in bulk, we will buy only when we are getting discount, otherwise we will not buy bulk. What I will do, I will simply buy lesser quantity and I will say later on I will buy fresh when I need. Why I need to store at a home, okay, buying in bulk. Some goods can be exception to it, but generally that is how we behave. Okay, if I go to market and I see 1 banana is 5 rupees and a dozen banana is 60 rupees, there is no price difference. So I will say, okay, give me 4 banana, 4 is what I need for 2 days. So I will buy 4 bananas. Why I will keep it for 1 week entirely? Because we do not want to spend money. We want to retain our money generally. Okay, generally there can be exceptions. So there is this law of diminishing marginal utility, that when we buy more, we get less out of it, less benefit out of it. And when we buy less quantity, from each unit we are getting more benefit. When you are hungry, I give you 1 apple, okay, so you will get greater utility from it. But I will give you 10 apples, you will not get that utility from all the 10 apples. As you eat more and more, you will not be feeling like eating more. Okay, by the time you eat 4th, 5th apple, you will not be in a good position, you will not be in a good mood, it will not even taste good anymore. Okay, so that is the law of diminishing marginal utility. A rich person earn 1 rupee more or 1 lakh rupee more, doesn't matter to him. A poor person earn 1 lakh rupee more, matters a lot to that person. So when you have more, the benefit that you derive out of it, satisfaction you derive out of it falls down. So I have explained DMU here. So because of this, when we buy in bulk, we do not want to pay that much. Okay, we want to pay less. Now let us move ahead. We have seen that there is an inverse relationship between price and demand because of diminishing marginal utility. Now there is also a relationship between income and demand, and that relationship is direct. Income and demand relationship is direct. Okay, so there is a direct relationship between income and demand. When income increase, we demand more. Okay, when income increase, we demand more, because we have more purchasing power, we are in a better position to buy. So that is why we demand more, because we have more money. Again, you can also apply law of DMU here. Because we have more money, the marginal utility of money is now less. The money doesn't matter that much. So we are ready to part away money. So that also happens. So this is the standard law of demand regarding price and income. Okay, so I hope that is clear, and already you knew it. I just revised it quickly. Now exceptions to these law of demand. Okay, so one is inferior good. Inferior goods. Inferior goods are those which people buy less when their income increase. As income increase, we demand less of them, and that is why we call them inferior. Inferior to my status. My status has improved. Now this is not up to my status. Okay, for example, wooden furniture, plastic furniture, high quality steel furniture. So high quality, high end woods furniture. Okay, sandalwood, agar wood, and many other, okay, very high quality furniture wood. So consider this. When your income increases, you go to upper middle class status, you would not like to keep plastic furniture in your house, whereas plastic furniture is very welcome at a lower middle class household, but in an upper middle class household, people would prefer high end furniture. Okay, good stone or good wood, etc. So what will happen to plastic? As your income increase, demand for plastic furniture go down. Clear? So after a certain point, it becomes inferior. Anything in the world can become inferior provided you have enough income. So this is inferior. For inferior goods, the income demand relationship will be inverse. Okay? For inferior goods, income demand relationship will be inverse. So I hope inferior good is clear. Now another exception is given good. These are goods whose demand increase when their price increase. So given goods are there. An example can be some special conditions in which necessary goods can become given. Okay, so when, let us say, there is a crisis situation, then people tend to stock necessary goods. And as price rise, more people will stock, there will be more demand. Let us say there was COVID crisis, okay, lockdown. During lockdown, when lockdown was happening in the early days, people were afraid how long it will continue. I need to have supplies at home. So people bought in bulk. And as people hear that this particular commodity prices have increased significantly, they rushed to market to purchase. Okay, so for example, in the early days, somebody heard, oh, cigarettes are not available and I need cigarette, I will die without them. They rushed to market, bought them in black, whatever price they could get them. Similarly, people went to purchase 2 bags of wheat, 4 bags of wheat, because they were afraid they might not be able to get it at all later on. So that is why as price increase, as people got news that rice has become more expensive, they rush to purchase rice. So you rush to purchase those items which become more expensive, but this is a very special condition. This does not happen in normal conditions. So given goods define normal behavior. Okay, their demand increase when price increase. Similarly, there are some goods called Veblen goods. Veblen goods. So Veblen goods are again those whose demand increase when their price increase. But in this case, because they're high-end luxury items which become more desirable with a higher price tag, people buy them because they're expensive. Okay, there is more demand, more desirability. If they are cheap, nobody will buy them. Diamonds, cheap, nobody is interested. It's just a stone. Okay, it's just a crystal. People want it because of its exclusive tag. So some exclusive high-end limited cars, all of these can come in this category. So these are exceptions. Okay, so we have done this first part. The law of supply. Law of supply is simply the relationship between price and quantity supplied. Relationship between price and the quantity supplied, and this relationship is positive. Okay, supply curve is upward sloping. As price increase, a producer is always ready to supply more. A producer cannot increase supply if price do not increase. Okay, for a given price they are already supplying maximum. This is the meaning of supply curve. Supply curve, this shape is valid for short run. In long run it can have any shape. Short run means immediate period. If I have to increase supply immediately, I will not be able to do it unless somebody is giving me better price. Because if it was possible to increase supply, sell more, I would be doing it already. I'm already selling maximum what I can sell for that price. Okay, so that is the logic behind the supply curve. Law of supply is very important because try to understand that a producer will not supply unless there is a price rise. Okay, will not supply more. Means price rise or more price encourage higher production. Okay, and higher production means more growth, more jobs, because in order to produce more I have to hire more people, I have to set more machinery. So basically when price rise, a producer is encouraged to produce more, and that basically leads to growth. So this supply curve tells me that some inflation is good for growth. Inflation is good for growth. Okay, remember this also. But there is a limit to it. Okay, there is a limit. Very high inflation is not good for growth. Limited inflation, low inflation is good for growth. Think about it. Our inflation target in India for MPC is 4 plus minus 2. Why is it not 0 plus minus 2? Why is it 4 plus minus 2? There is a reason why it is 4, because 4 is a moderate inflation that will encourage higher growth, and we want higher growth. That is why we have done it. So that is there in the law of supply. Okay, and then there are some additional concepts regarding shift in the curve, changes on the curve, complement, substitutes. We will discuss them through examples, okay, through questions. Okay, now let us look at the questions. I hope you are able to read it very clearly. Let me get aside for a moment. Read the question number 1. Which of the following factor will not cause a shift in the demand curve? Okay, so what causes a shift in the curve? What is the meaning of a shift in the curve? Let us say this is my demand curve. Okay, if this reflects the relationship between price and quantity. If price is high, quantity demanded is less. When price is low, quantity demand is higher. So as price increased, quantity demand increased. Okay. So this is a movement on the curve. So means price changes are captured within the same curve. But if something else change, if price, instead of price something else change. Okay. For example, I study price quantity relationship, but I also capture income increase meanwhile. Then there will be shift in curve. With a higher income, same person will have this curve. So instead of price, or instead of the factor that we are considering in that curve, if something else change, then there will be shift in the curve. Otherwise, there will be movement on the curve. Now let us look at it. Demand curve. Demand curve, if it is not written income, then it means price. You have to assume price there. Just like you assume lawn tennis from tennis, not table tennis. Table tennis must be written specifically. Just like that. So changes in the price of the goods or service. If you change the price, movement will be on the curve. It will not cause a shift. So this is not the answer. B, change in the consumer preferences. Yes, this will shift the curve. Change in income will shift the curve because this is something else. Change in the price of a substitute or complementary good. What is a substitute? Coca-Cola is a substitute for Pepsi. Okay. Let us say you are a student, you use pens. Okay. So let us say Montex or Reynolds is a substitute for cello. Okay. Or if we talk about bit luxury pens, then you can say Parker is a substitute for let us say Waterman, or Waterman is a substitute for Parker. Okay. Lamy is a substitute for Parker. So likewise Camlin. So all of these are substitute. You can use them interchangeably. There will be some difference, but you can do your work. You can manage yourself with that. So those are substitute. Complements which must be used together. Okay. For example, ink and fountain pen. These are complementary. If suddenly demand for fountain pen will increase in society, automatically demand for ink will also increase. So those are supplementary and complementary products. Now if their price change, that will also shift the curve because they are outside the equation. In this equation, we are only considering price and quantity. Okay, in income demand curve, income and quantity is in consideration. So regarding that, everything is considered. Okay, anything else which is outside the equation, which is not in our axis, will shift the curve. So in this case, the question is which of the following will not cause a shift? So it is A. Okay, A will not cause a shift. This is the answer. Second, the demand curve for a good is derived from the, okay, take 20 seconds, attempt this one. Marginal cost of the good. Do we consider cost in demand? No, not the cost, we consider the price. Marginal benefit of the good, yes, we consider marginal benefit. Okay, but let us look at other. Marginal benefit minus marginal cost. Yes, we consider marginal benefit but not marginal cost. So this will not be considered. And production possibility frontier. This is not something we study for UPSC. This is not even within our syllabus here. So you have to simply leave it. Okay. So in this case it should be B. There could have been a better answer than B also. So that is why I check all the options. In this case, B is the answer for 2. Okay, question number 3. Which of the following is not a determinant of the demand for good X? Okay, there is a product X. Which of the following is not affecting the demand for X? That is what we mean here. So income of consumer who buy good X. Yes, this is going to affect the demand. Income affects, price affects, cost of the labor used to produce good X. Okay, we have to look at it. Okay, the price of the good Y a complement to X, yes, that affects. Okay. For example, ink become very expensive, then people will not use fountain pen. Or if fountain pen become too expensive, people will stop using fountain pens, and then ink consumption will also be decreased. So yes, price of competitive goods or related goods, whether complementary or substitute, they will affect the demand. So this determines. Number of buyers, yes, the total demand definitely affects the, okay, so number of buyer also affect. In this case, answer is B. The cost of the labor used to produce good X. Now some of you might have confused with this. The why cost of labor? You are not bothered with cost of labor. When you go to market, do you ask, भैया ये bread जो हम खरीद रहे हैं इसको बनाने में कितनी labor लगी? You never ask. You are bothered with price. Whether cost of labor is 90% of that or 10% of that, you are not bothered with that. So this is not a factor that you consider. Whether this affects the price or not, you do not know. So you should not choose it. Although it looks a very tempting option, but it is not a correct option. Okay. So in this case, B is the answer. Question number 4. Which of the following will result in a decrease in demand? Leftward shift of the demand curve. Okay, let us make a demand curve. This is a typical demand curve. Okay, leftward shift is this. Okay, decrease in the demand. Means at the same price now people are ready to buy less. Okay, for example, if this is the price, sorry, just 1 minute. Give me 1 minute, please. Yes, let me make it again. Let us say this is the demand curve. Leftward shift is this. Okay, this question is tough, but let us attempt. So means at the same price, let us say this is the price on the original curve. This was curve 1, this is curve 2. On the original curve demand was more, in the new curve demand is less. So this is what we are talking about. So a leftward shift will look like this. Which of the following will result? Okay, increase in the income if good is normal? No. If income increases, then for the same price people will buy more. Curve will shift here. Decrease in the price of complementary good. Okay, think about it. You have a fountain pen. Ink prices fall. That should also increase the demand for fountain pen. So this is also not going to shift left. This is going to shift upward. Okay, increase in the price of a substitute good. This will also encourage. Okay, increase in the price of substitute. Let us say you are a fountain pen and ball pen price increase. Price is increasing for substitute. This is also going to have positive impact on you. Ball pen price become more expensive, then people will buy more of fountain pens. Okay, Pepsi become more expensive, people will buy more of Coca-Cola. So likewise. Clear? So this is also not correct. So all of these three conditions will lead to increase in the demand, not decrease. So answer should be D, none of the above. Okay, it is a good practice question. Question should not be so complex in the examination, but I have given you high degree of complexity here. Let us look at more questions. Question number 5. In recent years, there have been a couple of high-profile cases of contamination of baby formula produced in China. Okay, the product that was coming from China has contamination, a problem, means supply has gone down. As a result, many Chinese parents buy baby formula that is produced outside China. Okay, people are buying product from outside. Okay, which of the following accurately describes the likely effect of this on baby formula prices? Okay, so what is happening here? People are not buying from a domestic market. People are buying from outside market. Now let us look at the options. An increase in the price of the baby formula produced in China and decrease in the price of baby formula produced outside China. No, this is exactly opposite of what is going to happen. Okay, because demand for Chinese baby powder is less, its price will fall. Okay, and the foreign products, okay, because their demand will rise, their price will rise. This answer will come from equilibrium. Okay, for this we need to know the equilibrium. So let me make a equilibrium curve here. Just give me 1 minute here. Okay, let me show you equilibrium here. Price, quantity, demand curve, supply curve. This is supply, this is demand. This is my equilibrium. Okay, this is the quantity and this is the price. Okay, now because Chinese formula milk was found to be contaminated, people are buying less of it, so demand for it has fallen. Means there will be a shift like this. Okay, people are not looking forward to buy this product, so it will go into a new situation, that is D2. Now in this D2, what is the situation? This is the new equilibrium between supply and demand. Supply curve is same. It is demand which is affected because people are not interested to buy something which is contaminated. So here price have fallen, at the same time the sale has fallen. So this is what happens when demand falls. This can only be derived from equilibrium. This you cannot derive from demand curve. So that is how you are going to find out the answer for that question. Still not clear? Please comment under video. I will provide more hint for this. So in this case, B will be the answer. Okay, because demand for foreign product, imported product is more, so equilibrium price, okay, this is demand 1, this is demand 2, and this is supply. So price will increase in the new equilibrium for foreign products, and for domestic products demand has fallen like this, and on the supply curve the new equilibrium will be under it, so its price will fall. So B is the answer. Decrease in price of Chinese baby formula, increase in the price of outside baby formula. Decrease in price of both, increase in price of both are not correct option. B is the answer. Question number 6. Which of the following cannot result in a decrease in the equilibrium quantity sold of the inferior goods? Okay, inferior goods are those whose demand fall when income increase. Okay, so now which of the following cannot result in a decrease in the equilibrium quantity sold of an inferior product? Means something which will not decrease the sale. Okay, so increase in the price of a substitute for the good. If my substitute become more expensive, my demand will rise. Okay, increase in demand. An increase in consumer income. If income will increase, inferior goods demand will fall. Okay, increase in the wages paid to worker who produce the good, not related. Okay, you do not know whether this will affect the price or not. Okay, you do not have complete information for processing this one. An increase in the price of a complement for the good, this makes product more expensive. Okay, means your complementary product become more expensive. Think about car and petrol, just like fountain pen and ink. If petrol become more expensive, car sales will go down. Okay, now which of the following cannot result in a decrease? Means there should not be a decrease Okay, so whatever is decreasing is not the option. So which of the following will only lead to increase in the equilibrium quantity? So this will also lead to fall. In this case, answer is A. Okay, this will not lead to decrease. This may or may not increase. That is what we are arguing. For the same income, okay, let us say I consider soft drinks to be inferior, which I do consider actually, because they're slow poison anyways. Anyways, coming back to topic. So whether Coca-Cola or Pepsi, I'm neither interested in any of them. But just in case one day I'm in a mood to drink one, okay, I feel like I'm Bole Shankar, okay, and I want to drink some poison, and then I'm not trying to compare myself to him. I'm just saying that I get some inspiration from him, and he drank it for the overall good for the world, but I'm doing it for the bad for my body, okay, so I cannot compare the situation. Anyways, let's not digress. Coming back to topic, I'm simply saying someday I want to drink, okay, and that time the substitute is expensive, okay, Coca-Cola is expensive, then I am likely to buy more of Pepsi, okay, more chances I will buy Pepsi then. That is the idea. It will definitely not decrease, it may or may not increase. So this is the answer A. Okay, you have a problem, please comment. I will solve your doubts further, because we cannot spend too much time in this. So let us move ahead. Okay, next topic is elasticity. Okay, in elasticity, again I will not spend time at all in explaining the concept. I will just simply talk about the elasticity. Okay, I will not explain, I will just simply talk about the concept, and I will talk about some of its key points that you got to remember. Elasticity of demand, cross price elasticity. Okay, let us talk about this. So what are we talking about? Any elasticity is basically proportional change in X divided by proportional change in Y. Okay, X and Y can be any related factors. So let us say X. X is demand and Y is price. If X and Y are demand and price, we are talking about elasticity of demand. Okay, price elasticity of demand. We do not have to say price elasticity of demand because it is assumed. But if it is income, we have to specifically mention it. Means how much demand will change if price change by 10%. Okay, proportional change we are talking about, not absolute change. ये नहीं कह रहे कि प्राइस 10 से 8 रुपए हो गया, मतलब प्राइस 2 रुपए गिरा तो डिमांड कितनी चेंज होगी. We can't say, okay, we can't say that. So what we can say if price falls from 10 to 8, that is 20% change, then elasticity can be calculated because it is proportional, percentage change. Okay, proportional or percentage change. So this is what we have here in the equation, demand over price. So any elasticity is basically this, and that is how it can be calculated. I will not spend time here, I will spend more time into specific PT questions. So what is the role of elasticity? So in the demand curve I said the relationship is negative between price and demand. But how do I know curve is like this or curve is like this or curve is like this? What tells me the curvature, the slope? The slope is defined by the elasticity. Okay, so that is a great utility of elasticity. The demand curve tells me the shape, broader shape, what is the direction, but what is the angle? This is what elasticity tells me. Elasticity completes the topic. So that is the role of elasticity, and it has many concepts and great utility. And there are a lot of practice questions where we are going to cover all of this. So I will not spend time explaining this because through questions we will be able to do a lot of practice. And over there I will explain few things wherever applicable. Okay. Now, first question is, suppose that a 2% increase in price results in a 6% decrease in quantity. Okay, what is elasticity? That is proportional change in demand. How do we define this? Change in demand, okay, divided by original demand, this divided by change in price divided by original price. Since we already have percentage, we get it. Demand changes by 6%. Elasticity changes by 2%. Sorry, price changes by 2%. What does it tells us? That person was very flexible. Elasticity measures flexibility. This person could adjust demand very quickly. Okay, as price changes, this person is able to adjust demand very quickly and a lot. So that is why this person has a lot of flexibility, means elasticity. The term elasticity also comes from flexible, elastic band, okay, which can be stretched, which has flexibility. So that gives the term elasticity. It also measures the flexibility of a person. And having flexibility is good thing everywhere in life. Okay, being flexible, you can always handle situations better, whether in economic world, financial world, or emotional world, relationships. Okay, so if you are not flexible, if you are rigid, okay, then you are likely to face more issues. Same concept here. Okay, now in this case, okay, person was able to demand more, means the person was flexible, and that tells us the elasticity is greater. Okay, and in this case it is 6% by 2%, so that tells me elasticity is 3. Okay, so this type of relationship generally is negative, but since none of the answer is given with a negative sign, we are not treating it. So comparing among these, we find answer is 3, and this tells me the elasticity is a lot, flexibility is a lot. Next, if two goods X and Y are substitutes, then which of the following could be the value of cross price elasticity of demand for good Y? No information is given. How can I tell which of the following can be the value of cross price elasticity? What happens in the case of cross price elasticity? Let us identify. Proportional change price of X due to proportional change in quantity, demand of X due to change in price of Y. This is cross price elasticity. Means we are looking how much the demand for Coca-Cola is changing. X, let us say, is Coca-Cola, because we have to consider substitutes. So let us say Coca-Cola. Let me write it again because I think it is not legible. So just give me 1 second, please. Just give me 1 second. Yes. Yes. Now let me write again. Proportional change in demand of X divided by proportional change in price of Y. Okay, two different products are considered. Price of Y but demand of X. That is how we consider cross price elasticity. Now in this cross price elasticity, I am given information, these are substitute. Means when Coca-Cola price increase, demand for X also increase. Means there is a positive relationship between these. And since there is a positive relationship, both are either decreasing or both are increasing simultaneously. So elasticity cannot have a negative sign because either both are positive, both are negative. So that will cancel out the sign even if it is negative. And in this case C, neither A or B. So remember, complementary products have negative elasticity. Okay, substitutes. Products have positive elasticity. So cross price elasticity, of course. Okay, so that is the essential takeaway from that, and that has given you good revision of this concept. So let us move ahead. There are a lot of questions for practice here. If pizza is a normal good, then which of the following could be the value of income elasticity of demand? Now, income demand also have a positive relationship. Proportional change in demand divided by proportional change in income. Okay, percentage change in demand divided by percentage change in income. So what will happen if income increase, demand increase? If income falls, demand falls, means they either both be positive or both be negative, means the elasticity will have a positive sign, and that is how I can identify. In this case, all the elasticities given have a positive sign, so answer should be D, all of the above. Okay, it can have any of the number. The determinant in these two questions 2 and 3 was about sign, whether it is positive or negative. Okay, so this is the equation. I hope you are taking some practice notes here. Next, if demand curve is vertical, okay, now we talk about the shapes and elasticity. So this is also interesting. Whenever a curve is vertical, means there is perfect inelasticity. It tells us price can be as high or as low. You will not be able to adjust demand at all. Life-saving medicine. If you need 10 doses of a rabies drug, you need them, whatever the price, otherwise you will lose your life. So you will spend, whether the price is 5 rupees or 5,000, whether the price is 5 lakh. You will spend the money. Okay? Absolutely zero flexibility. That is reflected by the vertical curve. Vertical curve is quantity is fixed, price can be any number. So that tells us inelastic, perfect inelastic. Okay. Now, what is the formula? Formula is simply percentage in demand divided by percentage change in price. Now here demand will not change under any circumstance, so this will be 0. Answer here is 0. Okay, so that is the question. In these options they could have asked you elastic, perfectly inelastic. Okay, likewise also that could have been the option set, but in this case infinity 0, 1 is in one on the tougher side. So you have to identify. Since numerator is 0, answer is 0 here. And now what is the case of horizontal? This was the case of vertical. If we have horizontal relationship between price and quantity. Okay, I hope it is clearly visible. So price and quantity relationship. Now if price is fixed and quantity is flexible, that means you are waiting for a certain price, otherwise you will not buy. That means you have complete flexibility to buy or not buy, or people have complete flexibility to buy or not buy. So that is what we have here. Clear? So price can be specifically what, then only you will buy, otherwise you will not buy. And you can buy as much as you want at that time. So that means perfect elasticity. Complete flexibility means customer is completely flexible, producer is not flexible at all. Producer can sell at a certain price. In this case, producer has perfect elasticity and buyer has perfect inelasticity. So in this case, elasticity will be infinite, because in this case denominator is 0, because price cannot change. So in a horizontal demand curve, the answer would be infinity. If this would be horizontal, answer would be infinity. And why? Because numerator can be anything, but denominator will always be 0, and when denominator is 0, answer is infinity. So that is also a good question, okay, which will give you practice. As I told you, we are going to do a lot of practice in this, because practice is what will get you the good score in the examination finally. If goods X and Y are complements, then which of the following could be the value of cross price elasticity of demand? We just discussed it. Okay. For complements, elasticity is always negative. Okay. C is the answer. Okay. Let me go to the previous page. I will show you. I have written this. Complementary products have negative cross price elasticity. Let me go here. Okay. Complementary products have negative cross price elasticity. Substitutes have positive elasticity. So that is what is going to apply. Since I have already explained this concept, I will not go into explanation again. Answer would be C. So again, these are tougher questions. Questions should be little bit easier than these, but this will challenge you already on such a level that you will be able to answer any question after these. If given consumer preferences, a certain good has few close substitutes available. Now we are simply saying there are substitutes, then what will happen? Demand for that product will be relatively inelastic. What happens when there are substitutes? Okay. Now let us say you go to market and you want to buy pen. There are 15 brands for pen at that shop. Okay. Let us say there are many foreign brands. Okay. And then there are many Indian brands. Okay. Faber-Castell, for example, is there. Then Montex is there. Okay. Then Parker is there. Then Lemmy. Okay. Or Signature or Cross. Okay, and any actually. If there are too many brands to choose from and you wanted an Arrow price, but Arrow pen, Cross pen. Cross is a very famous brand for pens. So you want specifically Cross brand pen. But Cross is very expensive, but there are many good substitutes which are replaceable, which can be used instead, are available for a low price. Most likely you will choose those substitutes, even if you wanted to buy Cross. But if there are no substitutes, if there are no alternatives, you will have to buy that. Think about it, you want to go to market and buy a motorcycle. Okay, your original choice was to buy a heavy motorcycle for cruising. There was no choice but only to buy Royal Enfield for that. But now there are substitutes emerging for Royal Enfield. There are at least 3 to 4 different substitutes in market for Royal Enfield. Okay, so for example, if I'm not wrong, Yamaha has launched a very similar type of motorcycle. I'm not able to recall the name because gone are those days when I was a motorcycle enthusiast. I do have RE at home, but I do not look into the market anymore much. But so I just have a Thunderbird which I ride when I get time. Now, point is, getting back here, if there are substitutes, then it increases the flexibility of people. It doesn't decrease the flexibility. And more flexibility means more elasticity. Simply think on these lines and you will get the answer. More choice means more flexibility. More flexibility, more elasticity. Less choice, less elasticity. So demand for that good will be relatively elastic. Okay. So now first two options are wrong because both of them say inelastic. Okay. In this case we are saying few close substitutes. Close substitutes are very easily replaceable. Okay. You want to buy, let us say you go to market to buy paint. Now shopkeeper tells you, sir, I have 3 options: Asian Paint, Narrow Lac, Berger. If you do not have a very specific choice in mind, you will buy any of these. Okay. That increases your flexibility. You will not have to specifically buy a particular one. Now, demand for that good will be relatively elastic. That first part is true. Now let us look at the second part. Compared to goods for which there are many close substitutes. No. It will be relatively elastic compared to goods just give me 1 second. Okay, the equation is between supply, okay, and demand. Okay, supply of that good will be relatively elastic. Sorry, I didn't notice this letter here. I myself prepared the equation, but prepared them long ago. So yes. So yes, looking at the supply. So second equation we can't rule out right now. We have to consider that also. Second equation we have not ruled out. C, demand for that good will be, even the first we are not ruling out. Okay, just reading the first equation could have got us wrong. So first half, okay, that is why I always say, even if you are a teacher like me, never read half of the statement. This mistake can happen. I just realized it. Like, I prepared these questions for practice almost a year ago. Almost forgot that what I exactly included there. Okay, so I just read half. It can't be inelastic, so I just simply, but no. As per the given condition, it will be decided. Okay. So if there are many more close substitutes available, then it will be relatively inelastic. Okay. A is the answer here. There is a product for which there are few substitutes. Then there is a product for which there are a lot of substitutes. Okay, what is this saying? Compared to goods for which there are many close substitutes. Okay, and few close substitutes. Between many and few, product which has more substitute will be more elastic. And comparatively, it will be inelastic. So A is the answer. Okay, I ruled it out just because I read half statement. It is a live example how we get it wrong sometimes when we are in hurry or when we try to become overconfident, not look at the whole information. So whole information is very, very critical. Okay. Next question. Okay, there are 6 here. Now, production and cost. This is a very small topic. The bigger topic we have already dealt with. Okay, the first 2 were the very big topics. Now only the market structure will take a bit of more time. Okay, rest of the topics are relatively shorter. Now, firms have to make decisions about how much to produce and at what cost. Production function shows the relationship between input and output, while the cost function shows the relationship between input and cost. Okay, so this is about the production and cost interrelationship. We do not have to study all the technicalities. Specifically, what we have to study is this. Factors of production, opportunity cost, returns to scale, and types of cost. Factors of production, there are 4 factors of production. Labor. Labor gets wages or salary. Okay. Then land gets rent. Then capital, interest. In the traditional theory we say interest, but we can also add one more term here, that is dividend. Okay, if you buy shares in a company, you can contribute capital and you can exchange, get dividend. And if you're an entrepreneur, if you're running a company, if you're a manager, you will get the profit. Okay. People who are in senior management, neither they are owner, neither they are ordinary worker, they are not even laborers, they are in senior management. They have a stake in the profits of the company. So, okay, so they are given higher responsibility, so they get a fixed salary, but they also get share in the profits, they also get the stocks. So, senior management has aspect of both labor and entrepreneur. Pure entrepreneur is owner. Okay. Now, important concepts. Factor of production I've already discussed. Then opportunity cost. What is opportunity cost? What we give up, okay, alternatively. Generally, whenever we are talking about cost, we consider only what we are exactly paying for it, but we do not consider the indirect cost. Opportunity cost includes that. If I would not be teaching here, what else I would be doing alternatively, and what would be my earning? That is the opportunity cost of teaching here. If I'm getting more than my opportunity cost, then it is justified to work here. Clear? Although in relationship you should not use this example, but I will use because that is the example students understand much more easily. You are in a stage where you want to get into a relationship. 20s are that age, okay? Teenage to up to, let us say, 28, 27, that is the age in which people want to get into a relationship. My age is far more than that, okay? I've long gone past that stage, okay? So, opportunity cost, for example, if, let us say, Ghanshyam is dating Soumya, okay? Then what is the opportunity cost? What is the cost for Ghanshyam? Cost could be that he is taking her to theater, he's taking her for lunch or dinner, he's taking her for long rides, etc., okay, for travel, etc. Those are the direct costs he's committing into this relationship. What are the indirect costs? The time he's spending. In that time he could have done something, he could have earned, he could have learned. He's not doing that. That is also an opportunity cost. What else is the cost? If he would not be dating Soumya, he could have been dating, let us say, someone else, okay? Let us say Chandraprabha. So that is also a cost. So in opportunity cost, we add up everything. What alternatively you could have done with your time, what alternatively you could have got instead of what you are stuck to right now. Stuck to or you have chosen for right now. Because stuck to is not good for this example. So opportunity cost is a bigger concept, okay? Much wider, comprehensive concept. So for example, I'm teaching here, okay? Now what is the opportunity cost? Opportunity cost is in that time I could have done something else, I could have worked somewhere else. And what would be my earning here? What I could have done some other business, I could have opened a shop, I could have done some new startup. So I could have been earning there, okay? So that lost income because I'm not doing that is my opportunity cost. What are my direct costs? I'm coming to a certain place, I'm paying for petrol, I'm paying for parking, okay? I have a cost of this digital board, I have cost of this setup, okay? I have cost of, there are assistants who are working with me, so there are cost of them. So those are my direct costs of producing it. So these are the direct and indirect cost, okay? So my total cost is both what I could have earned plus the cost that I've spent directly. So opportunity cost is part of that, okay? Total cost includes direct cost and opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is very important. Now, there is a concept returns to scale which I'll talk about and types of cost also through questions. Let us move ahead. Question number 1. On Saturday morning, you rank your choices for activities in following order. Okay, very relevant, okay, specifically for you, student community, UPSC students, okay. Go to library, work out at the gym, have breakfast with friends and sleep late. Suppose you decide to go to library, okay, out of the 4 options, your opportunity cost is working out at the gym, having breakfast with friend and sleeping late. 0 because you do not have to pay for money to use the library. We have to pay for library, but that is actual cost. Opportunity cost here is still, I mean, in that sense, opportunity cost for library is 0. Okay, I mean, if I go in that sense, working out at the gym, this is one of the, not clear because so A is the answer here because I'm missing out on all 3. I went to library, so I couldn't go to gym, I couldn't have breakfast with friends, and I couldn't sleep late. Okay. So basically, what all alternatives that you had, okay, those what you're going to miss out because of that activity. So just give me 1 minute, please. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, order is also important, a word here. Okay, just give me 1 moment. Okay, these are the 4 choices that I have. So opportunity cost here is actually working out at the gym, not A. Okay, why? Because those choices are inferior to workout at gym. So I could have done only 1 activity out instead of the 4. I could have been in bed, but that was my last choice. Better than that, I could have had breakfast with friends. Better than that, I could have worked out at gym. But even better than that, I could have gone to library. Since I went to library, what I did miss out maximum was gym. Okay, these are inferior options, so we do not consider that. Okay, so order was the word that is very, very important here, and C is the answer, working out at the gym. Not all the three simultaneously, because order of the choice is very clearly given. So next best. Okay, so for example, I could, if I'm teaching here, the example I gave you, use that example. If I would not be teaching here, what else I could do? I could not do 5 different tasks. I would not be begging on a platform. I would not be, let us say, working in an NGO. I would not be, let us say, dancing somewhere in a reality show. Okay, those are not careers for me. Those are much. I mean, begging is not a career choice, of course. Basically, that is the worst kind of career option for anyone. Begging is not career, so that is the worst livelihood option for anyone. Okay, working in NGO, shady NGO, let us say. Anyways, you got the point. If I'm not working in my job, then my next best alternative that I missed out on, that is my opportunity cost. It's not that I would have worked in 10 different places and all those incomes I'm losing out. अगर मैं पढ़ा नहीं रहा होता तो उसकी जगह कुछ और कर रहा होता, लेकिन एक ही तो काम कर रहा होता ना उस समय में. एक समय में 10 काम नहीं कर सकता हूँ. So इसलिए वो concept होगा. And in this case, C is the answer, and that is how I created it actually. Okay, and this is a good tough question actually. Okay, it can't be all 4, it will be C. So that is the answer here. So I was in a lot of hurry when I just prepared this file. Okay, and I just covered all the questions that I've prepared earlier and didn't revise myself either. So anyways, okay, this is the real example, and I'm also solving it with you. Both of us have the exam condition actually. Okay, even if I created it, okay, I understand the concept also, but if I miss out on any word, still I can miss out the question. That is how much is the importance of reading entire question. Now, question number 2. Which of the following statement about the economic incidence, which is economic burden of taxation, is true? Okay. This is again a very tough question, and it is based upon many concepts, not just one concept. If demand is elastic, producer will bear greater burden of tax than consumer. If demand is elastic, what will happen? People have more flexibility. What is written? Demand, not supply. So we do not know about producer being flexible or not. People are flexible. They can choose to buy, not to buy. They can delay their choice. So what happens when there is a tax increase on my product? My product now has a tax. Let us say my product was not tax, but now it has a tax. Because of higher tax, people will not buy my product, or people will buy my product in lesser quantity. What I will have to do? I will have to share some burden. Okay. In this case, what I will do? I will not increase the entire price of the tax. I may give up on some of my profits because people are very flexible. So because I have to maintain my sales, that is a better choice. I will maintain my sales. I will give up on some of the profits. So that is likely to happen. Okay, if supply is perfectly inelastic, producer will bear all the burden of tax. This is also correct. Okay, if I have no choice, if I have absolutely no choice, okay, that means whatever the price I have to sell the product, then people will just simply not pay me, not be ready to pay me the higher price. I will have to bear the entire burden of the tax. If supply curve is perfectly elastic, consumer will bear none of the burden of the tax. Third is wrong. If supply curve is perfectly elastic, then consumer have to bear all the burden. Then producer has entire flexibility. He will not produce, he will delay, he will not take any burden of the tax. He say, okay, tax has increased, this money will go to government, you pay, खरीदना खरीदो, नहीं खरीदना मत खरीदो, ये होता है perfect elasticity. Okay, when shopkeeper is in a position, you want to buy, otherwise leave. If shopkeeper is able to tell you that means shopkeeper has elasticity. If shopkeeper is running after you, sir कितना दोगे, अच्छा बता दो, कर लेते हैं sir, settle कर लेते हैं, that means shopkeeper has lesser elasticity. Shopkeeper wants to sell you, okay, wants to deal with the trade. So third is wrong because all the burden should have been here. Answer should be 1 and 2 in this case. Again, a Good question for practice. Okay. Opportunity cost means, this is purely the definition, so should be easiest for you. The accounting cost minus marginal benefit, no. Unnecessarily technical thing is given. Okay. Highest valued alternative foregone. We have already done question number 1 in this list, so already you can identify the B here. Okay. Monetary cost, no. The accounting cost minus marginal cost, no. Factor of production include all of the following except. So what does factor of production include? Land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. And what does factor of production does not include? It does not include raw material, okay, raw material. Now, factor of production include all of the following except, okay, wheat field that is not irrigated. Okay, this is land. Whether irrigated or not irrigated, land is factor of production. You can produce something with that. Entrepreneurship, of course, that is the very clear listed. Okay, money. Is money a factor of production? Yes, money is capital. Machine made in past years. Okay, we do not know clearly about this one. Machines made in past year. Either this can be a product, okay, and simply I'm not paying for this now. Okay, so A is the answer here. A is not a perfect answer, but other three are very clear answer. I mean very clearly included in factor of production, so A must be chosen. This is bit confusing because machinery generally is part of capital, but machinery for which I have to pay regularly, on what basis do we determine factor of production? फर्क क्या है factor of production और raw material में या बाकी चीजों में? In for factor of production we have to make payment to those people regularly for hiring the factor of production. Okay, factor of production we have to hire, we have to pay for that. That has a reoccurring cost. So if I hire money, then there is a reoccurring cost to it. I have to pay interest every year. Okay, or I have to have foregone cost for that. Okay, I will lose interest. I can give this money to someone else and earn interest if this money belongs to me. Still, money, entrepreneurship, these are very clearly factor of production. Land is factor of production. Okay, wheat field, whether irrigated or not, if I take it, I have to pay rent. Okay, machine made in past year. Now this could be my own machine. Okay, compared to other options, this is relatively inferior. And since past year, that means in this year I'm not bearing burden of this. So we do not know whether it is reoccurring or not. Definitely not this year, there is a cost. So in this case, A should be chosen because of the other options. Okay, otherwise A can be a factor of production. Question number 5. Which of the following statement about opportunity cost is true? Okay, opportunity cost of a given action is equal to the value of foregone of all feasible alternative action. No. This is incorrect. Not all. The best alternative. Okay. Opportunity cost only measure direct out of pocket expenditure. Does it? No. Opportunity cost is not about direct expenditure. Opportunity cost is indirect cost. Total cost include opportunity plus direct. Okay. In MSP we use MSP calculation. We calculate A2 plus there is a concept called C2. Okay. In MSP we use this. At present we are using A2 plus FL. A2 plus FL. A2 is actual cost, FL is farm labor. Family labor, sorry. And C2 is comprehensive cost. So this is opportunity, this is actual out of pocket expenditure. So that is how we consider both of them. Okay. So we use this concept in MSP. Next, to calculate accurately the opportunity cost of an action, we need to first identify the next best alternative to that action. Third is the correct answer, and A is the answer for this one. So this is what we have. Okay, now next, market structure. Okay, so perfect competition, monopoly, oligopoly, monopolistic competition. On this we are going to discuss. So market structures are a very important topic, and regularly we have seen questions. Now question number 1 here is mobile phone operator market in India is an example of mobile phone market. Okay, those who want to study market structure, the concept class will be discussed later. Right now just the revision question are being done for that, because if I go into this concept it will take far more time. It is a long topic, big topic. Let us just do the question revision, and through that I will discuss some of the concepts also. Now mobile phone operator market, not the mobile phone handset, mobile phone operator. So there are a few companies only. Okay, Airtel, Jio, Vodafone. So when there are few producers or few seller, it is oligopoly. Okay, competition or perfect competition is when there are a lot of seller, lot of firms. Monopoly, single firm. Monopolistic competition, lot of firm with different brand name. So C is oligopoly. Example. Which of the following is not a characteristic of perfect competition? Okay, in Indian market or any market actually, if you look at the option, it is not specific to India. Is not a characteristic. Large number of buyer and seller, this is a characteristic of perfect competition. Homogeneous products, yes. Okay, so look at these options. Through that only you can cover the topic as well. No barriers to entry or exit, this is also correct. The market price is set by single firm, no, that is incorrect. That is monopoly feature. Okay, single firm can't set price in perfect competition. Firm takes the price. Firms cannot decide the price. So these are the features of perfect competition. Okay, so I hope this is revised some of the things for you. I will also discuss some of the additional facts about each of these. Next question. In India, which sector is characterized by few dominant players controlling the market and the pricing? Okay, look at this. Education, lot of players. Okay, government, private sector, lot of charitable institutions, lot of competition. Consumer electronics, lot of competition. Okay, consumer electronics, all the electronics supplying companies which sell such electronics devices. Okay, you want to buy charger, you want to buy headphone, you want to buy radio, you want to buy speaker. There are just thousands of brands. Agriculture, millions of people. Automobile, in the automobile production there are relatively fewer companies compared to the other three. Okay, so in this question, given the options, A is relatively the option which has the least number of few dominant players. So smaller players cannot survive in automobile market because you need to have a certain scale of production, otherwise the losses are huge. So that is why. So A is the answer in this case. A is not always the case. It will all depend upon option. Compared with the other option, A is the case here. Question number 4. Which of the following is not a characteristic of monopolistic competition in Indian market? Okay. Regarding monopolistic competition, we have to identify. Again, it is not specific to Indian market. Okay, Indian market is just given so that it can confuse you unnecessarily. Product differentiation is a feature of monopolistic competition. Many buyer and seller is a feature of perfect competition. Sorry, monopolistic competition. No barrier to entry exit is also a feature. Okay, price taker. Price taking, a company which takes the price, which cannot set its own price, that is a feature of perfect competition, not monopolistic competition. In monopolistic competition, a firm owns a brand and they set the price of their own product. So that is how it gets differentiated. Okay, in a monopoly, firm has complete control over price, quantity, or both. What is the answer? Both is the answer here. Okay, if you know it simply. there is a single firm which is producing. So it can decide how much it wants to produce. It can also decide at what price it wants to sell. So a single firm has the ability to choose. Then sixth, the demand curve faced by monopolist is tough question. Monopolist supply curve we generally talk about, but what is the demand curve? Think about the demand curve of a monopoly. Okay, let us say there is producer who sells the product and there is no substitute. That is the only product available in market. And you are buyer of that product. What would be your demand curve? Since you do not have any alternative, your flexibility is less. So my demand would be relatively inelastic. Perfect, definitely not. Relatively inelastic. Okay. Perfectly we can say if that product is emergency also. Okay, medicine can have perfect inelastic demand. But for, let us say, buying a relatively not so important thing, okay, let us say I want to buy a foam mattress. For foam mattress there is only one brand. But if foam mattress is just too expensive, I will simply not buy that. Okay, so it is relatively inelastic. Perfect inelastic, that is a very special condition. Product must also be a necessity product. That is not given here. So that's why. Question number 7. A natural monopoly occurs when, what is a natural monopoly? Which happens automatically, for which you do not have to create law, for which you do not have to protect, which happens without any legal protection. So firm has exclusive ownership of key resource. No. If it has exclusive ownership of a key resource, okay, then it is monopoly not because of natural condition, because of a legal right. A firm is protected by government regulation, again a legal right. Because see, economies of scale are so large that no one firm can produce the entire output of the market at lower cost than two or more firms. That is correct actually. I will explain it. If firm has a patent on a new product, that is also a type of legal protection which can create monopoly. So all of these are created by law. A, B and D. C is saying that as the firm size increase, its cost continue to fall continuously. So you can infinitely increase the size of the company. So one who achieves the biggest size will survive. Others will not be able to match the cost and they will die out. So this will create the monopoly. Okay, so this is a natural monopoly. C. Price discrimination occurs when a monopolist charges different price for same product. Okay. Yes, B is the answer. Charges different price to different group of consumers. Okay, so B is the answer. That is how we define price discrimination. So what is price discrimination? If seller will decide that I will give you for 12, then someone else come, I say okay I will sell at 14. To someone else I say okay you take at 20. So I am deciding. People do not have a choice because there is no alternative. I am monopolist. I am only one who is selling. So I can charge whatever I want to. So I am charging different to different group. I am charging according to their ability to pay. If I can see there is a rich person whose ability to pay is more, I will charge him more. So accordingly we discriminate between people when we are in that situation. Okay. Last question from this topic. One reason why a monopoly may arise is government regulation, perfectly elastic demand, economies of scale, free entry and exit of firm. Okay. Economies of scale can also lead to monopoly. B and D will not lead to monopoly. A, government regulation, will also lead to monopoly. Okay, in this case, A and C both can be answered. Which you should choose? Tell me. Okay. Government regulation is the more likely option here. Okay, you have to choose A. Economies of scale are not necessarily going to create monopoly. They can only create monopoly when economies of scale are infinite. But government regulation can very easily create monopoly in most of the conditions. So that's why A, both A and C are correct by the way. But if we have to choose one, it will be government regulation. So in that sense, it was tough to rule out the final answer. Okay, let us look at the next topic. Externalities. What are externalities? Externalities are external impact. Okay, a person is doing something and that has impact on me. That is not because of my own choices, that is because of someone else's choice. Somebody is smoking cigarette next to me. I am forced to inhale smoke. So that is affecting my welfare. That is negative external impact on me. So that is the example of externalities. It can be both positive and negative. Somebody is using very high quality perfume, is sitting next to me. I am getting also a good, let us say, aroma because of that person's presence. So that is a positive externality in that sense. So all of those are externalities. In economics, there are very specific examples. Okay, so there are impact of externalities, okay, which can be both positive and negative. Difference between internal and external cost. Okay, so when we attach it to cost, then there are specific types, and then there are examples. So we will discuss all three by questions. Now let us consider that there is a company producing steel, but this steel company is also creating pollution. So for producing steel, there is some cost. What company is incurring is the cost of producing the steel only. But if you look at the entire economy, economy is also affected by the pollution that this company has created. So their private cost is this, but the total cost of steel production in economy is the cost paid by company plus the pollution created by company. The economy, the people have to bear both the burden. Company itself will bear only specific burden, the out of pocket expenditure, but this is the extra cost it is creating on society. This is external cost. Okay, likewise, let us say there is a company which is engaged in solar production. It is creating positive externality for society. So it can bring down the social cost also. So these are the examples of the social and the private cost. Okay, and now let us look at the question. Pigouvian tax. So Pigouvian tax is imposed on the polluting companies. It is a concept that I always discuss in my classes, and all my students already know of this. So Pigou was a great economist. His name was Arthur Cecil Pigou, and he introduced this concept of Pigouvian tax. So this is a tax on polluting goods or goods which have negative impact on society. So in this case, C is the answer. The argument of Pigou was that you charge from people who create negative impact and you give it to impacted people. Okay, in modern society, we do not give it to impacted people. We use that money for, let us say, reversing the impact of the negative externalities. For example, polluting companies have to pay higher taxes. Polluting vehicles have to pay taxes. Okay, so when in Delhi a commercial vehicle enters, it has to pay a very high MCD tax, entry fee to Delhi every single time it enters. So that is because it is creating pollution in Delhi. Now the collection of that money is done and that goes to the government. Government will not give it to the people of Delhi directly. Government will use it to reverse the impact of pollution by having smoke towers, by having, let us say, many other measures like increasing the tree cover, okay, creating awareness, spending on public transport, etc. So that is how we use. So that is the modern example of Pigouvian tax. So Pigouvian tax today in India is decided by the NGT, National Green Tribunal, and C is the answer. Okay. As I said earlier, all these will be discussed separately in the concept classes if somebody has doubt in the topic itself. Okay, this is a revision class, so only specific question and through question some of the concepts. Next question is, which of the following is an example of negative externality? Planting a tree in public park? No, this is positive impact. Building a playground in neighborhood? No, this is going to create positive impact. Air pollution from a factory, I think this is very easy. producing vaccine for a disease is also positive externality. So I think this was the easiest question so far. Let us move ahead. Question number 3, which of the following is not a solution to the free rider problem? Now, free rider problem is related to both externalities and public goods. Okay, public good. Okay, accidentally what has happened? These questions should have been in public goods topic. Anyways, let us cover it. What are public goods? Public good has two features. Okay, so public good is the topic which is related, so let us discuss this here itself. Which are known rival and which are known exclusive. These are the two features of public good. What do we mean by known rival? Known rival means that people do not have to compete for resources in case of those products. Okay, for public goods, people do not have to compete. Non-exclusive. Nobody can have exclusive right over that. Okay, it will be openly accessible for all. So these are the features of public good. For example, armed forces. For example, air. Armed forces. There is no rivalry. As much benefit you get from armed forces, as much protection you get, I get, and everyone else get. Similarly, there is no exclusive right of anyone on the armed forces. Everyone in the country is getting equally benefited by presence of armed forces on the borders. So that is the best example and the perfect example of public goods. Then there are imperfect public goods which have some degree of rivalry, some degree of exclusivity. Okay. Now in the case of public goods, since there is non-exclusiveness, okay, some people take advantage and they abuse public goods. They use public good but do not pay for them. And that is called free rider problem. It comes from the non-exclusiveness of the public goods. Public park. People can go there and vandalize public parks. Okay, bus stands. People can go there and, I've seen vandalized bus stands also. So people just destroy public property. Okay, so these are all possible because these are non-exclusive. Okay, everybody can enter, anybody can use those. So that is why public parks can have vandalization problem. Now, which of the following is not a solution to free rider problem? Taxation, is it a solution? Yes, taxation is a solution. Regulation, is it a solution? Yes. Subsidy is a solution? Yes. Coercion, is it a solution? No. Free rider is a problem that you can't solve by force. Free rider is a problem that you can solve by either tax or subsidy combination or through regulation. You have to regulate it, manage it. Okay, have guards there, people who are protecting that. Okay, that is regulation part, or have some system, okay, of fine or something. But fine also will largely get into the area of coercion, etc. Subsidies. Okay, now through subsidies you can make it easy for people to travel, and that will encourage them to buy tickets. For example, railway ticket or bus ticket. If it is cheaper, free rider will reduce. Okay, some people do not buy because it is expensive. People will buy because they also do not want to become free rider. There is a risk with being free rider. Okay, think about it. People travel in railway without ticket. Which of them can solve the problem? Taxation, regulation, subsidy can solve it. Coercion is very unlikely to solve it. Okay. Coercion is generally not a solution to the free rider problem. Coercion can control it to some degree, but generally not. Then, okay, this we know generally from experience. Now, a public good is considered non-excludable if non-excludable means nobody has exclusive right. Everybody has equal right to share that, use that. It is too expensive to produce. It is difficult or impossible to prevent someone from using it. It is only available to select group. That means it is exclusive, so it can't be the answer. It is too expensive to produce, so it is generally not likely to be non-exclusive. But this is generally not related category. Okay, and it is a good or service that is provided by the government doesn't necessarily tells us anything. B is the answer. Okay, very difficult for people, someone to stop using it. That makes it non-exclusive. Okay, now the topic of public good. Those questions should have been actually here. We've already discussed what is public good. Okay. What are private goods? Private goods are which are exclusive and rival. Okay. Now more questions. Which of the following is an example of pure public good? Example of a pure public good is private jet an example of public good? Not at all. Private itself is written here. National defense is an example of absolutely pure public good. Movie theater is also public good actually, but it is not pure public good. There is some degree of rivalry, there is some degree of exclusivity. You have exclusive right to the seat during a show. Okay. So movie theater is a semi-public good. Luxury car, can't say what is the nature of it. If it is a taxi, if it is a private car, you can't say. This is not related category. Answer is national defense, which is the best example for public goods. Next question, which of the following is not an example of public good? Okay, national defense, public park, clean air, these are example of public goods. Private security is not an example of public good. In fact, these are relatively easier questions, okay, because of the options. But you can very easily understand public good is not a topic on which very technical question will be asked. If at all asked, the question should be relatively easier. Last question in public good category, which of the following is not a characteristic of public good? Which of them is not? Is not a characteristic. Non-exclusiveness is a characteristic. Non-rivalry is a characteristic. Non-profitability, no. Public goods can be very well profitable. Okay, it is not a necessary or it is not a feature. Okay, it can be possible option. Collective consumption can be an option. A and B are definite features. D is relatable to public goods. C, you can't say it is not. It may or may not. So C in this case should be the answer. Okay, so that completes the topic of public goods. Okay, I wanted to cover one more topic, and that topic was market failures. But I have to explain market failures, so I will include it into the macroeconomics itself, and I will cover it there, because this video already is longer than what I planned to be. So I hope this session has helped you a lot, and best of luck for your examination. Okay, we will have next session on macroeconomics.